Everyone in Britain is aware of the great train robbery that took place in England in 1963. £2.6 million was taken from a Royal Mail train worth almost £65 million in today's money. Although the 1960s train robbery is infamous, a less-known, more daring heist took place over a century before, committed not with force, but in a way that initially proved almost impossible to solve. This was the Great Victorian Gold Robbery. In the heart of the Victorian age, Britain was proud of its iron railways. Trains thundered across the land, carrying passengers, post, and precious cargo. But in May 1855, that trust was shattered. The story of the Great Train Robbery of 1855 is one of audacity, betrayal, and a crime that shook Victorian society to its core. The Crimean War was raging in the East. Britain needed to send payment in gold bullion to support its troops and allies. On the night of May the 15th, 3 heavy safes containing gold, worth over £12,000, a sum that would be millions today, were loaded onto a southeastern railway train at London Bridge Station. The safes were guarded, locked, and sealed, or so it seemed. When the train arrived in Paris, the safes were opened. To the horror of the authorities, much of the gold was gone. In its place, bags of lead shot. Someone had switched the treasure en route. But how could anyone steal gold from sealed safes on a moving train without leaving a trace? It seemed an impossible crime. The truth was even more daring than the mystery. At the heart of the crime was a man named Edward Agar, a career criminal with a brilliant but dangerous mind. With him were William Pierce, a clerk at the railway, James Burgess, a train guard, and others in the conspiracy. Together they planned one of the most audacious robberies in British history. The conspirators first bribed insiders to gain access to the safes before the journey. Using wax impressions of the keys, Agar had duplicates made. On the night of the robbery, with Burgess ensuring no one interfered, the thieves unlocked the safes while the train sped through the dark countryside. The gold was quietly removed, replaced with heavy lead shot to disguise the loss. When the train reached Paris, no one suspected a thing, until the safes were opened. Victorian newspapers quickly dubbed it the crime of the century. Detectives at Scotland Yard were baffled. For months, the robbers enjoyed their winnings, believing they had fooled the world, but greed and betrayal would bring them down. Agar, arrested on another charge, was abandoned by his partners. Furious, he revealed the entire plot to the authorities. Thanks to Agar's confession, Pierce and Burgess were tried at the Old Bailey in 1857. Both were convicted and sentenced to transportation. Agar, though guilty himself, received leniency for turning informer. The robbery had been solved, but the legend remained. It was a crime that exposed the fragility of the railways and the daring of men who believed they could outwit the Victorian age itself. The Great Train Robbery of 1855 was more than just a theft. It was a turning point in the history of crime, a story of cunning, betrayal, and the birth of the railway myth. Decades later, tales of train robberies would echo across the Wild West and beyond. But it all began here, in Victorian Britain, with a shipment of gold, a set of stolen keys, and a gang who thought they had committed the perfect crime.